The story of Jayadratha. During the times of Mahabharata, in the capital of Sindhu, Queen Dushala was anxiously waiting for the return of her husband Jayadratha. She was thinking, a cloud of dust in the distance, it must be my husband returning from Hastinapura. She was thinking, yes, he is here, I can see his chariot quite clearly now. Dushala was eagerly welcoming her husband home. I hope all is well, my lord. Jayadratha answered, all is well, Dushala. In fact, things couldn't be better. The Kauravas, your brothers, have found a supremely clever way of humbling your cousins, the proud Pandavas. Dushala was thinking, humbling the Pandavas? She asked. Jayadratha continued, yes, they invited the Pandavas to play a game of dice. Though the stake was high, the Pandavas couldn't refuse. Dushala asked, and what was the stake? Jayadratha replied, the losers would surrender all rights to their kingdom and go into exile for 13 years. Dushala was surprised. The Pandavas fell for that? Didn't they know my uncle Shakuni would help my brothers to win this dice game? Jayadratha answered, the Pandavas are simpletons and Yudhishthira, the eldest Pandava, allowed Shakuni to cast the dice for Duryodhana. Jayadratha continued, naturally, Shakuni won the game for Duryodhana with his tricks. Ha ha ha, he laughed. Dushala was disappointed. I feel a little sorry for the Pandavas. They have to pay a very hard price. Jayadratha replied, no, Dushala, it's a good thing for us. Your brothers will rule at Hastinapura and we stand to gain by that. Meanwhile, the Pandavas, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula and Sahadeva with their wife Draupadi had reached the Kamyaka forest. Later their cousin Krishna and other relatives and friends visited them at the forest. Sri Krishna Paramatma was talking to them. Yudhishthira, I am furious at this injustice. I will slay the wicked Kauravas and install you again on the throne. Yudhishthira humbly replied, Krishna, having played the game, I accept the outcome, but after 13 years we will return. Sri Krishna Paramatma said, you are just and noble, Yudhishthira. The relatives and friends gave a farewell and returned to their cities. Farewell, my friends, God willing, we will meet again in happier times. Thus the Pandavas gave farewell to them. Thus the Pandavas passed several years in the forest. One day they had gone away as usual in search of game, leaving Draupadi at home. Draupadi was thinking in the ashram. There seemed to be a lot of people coming this way. Who could they be? What is this noise? Oh my God, one of them is galloping towards me. There, a soldier asked her, fair lady, I have been sent by Jayadratha, king of Sindhu. We were passing by when he saw you. He wishes to know who you are. Draupadi answered, I am Draupadi, the wife of the valiant Pandavas. My husbands have gone out hunting. They will be pleased to have your king as their guest. When the invitation was conveyed to Jayadratha by the messenger, Jayadratha was thinking, so it is Draupadi, and she is alone. I must carry her away before the Pandavas return. And thus Jayadratha arrived at their ashram. Draupadi received Jayadratha with due courtesy. O king, accept water to wash your feet. I am pleased to do this service for you on behalf of Yudhishthira. The vengeful Jayadratha answered, and I will be pleased if you will come with me and be my queen. Draupadi was shocked. What? What did you say? Jayadratha answered, why should you suffer with the Pandavas? Forsake them, be my queen and live in comfort. Draupadi got very angry and startled. To lay hands on me is to invite the wrath of Arjuna and Bhima upon yourself. It is like kicking a sleeping lion. Go at once, away from here, if you value your life, said Draupadi. Jayadratha didn't stop. You can't frighten me with such threats, you poor woman. Draupadi defended herself. Vraj, don't defile me with your touch. Get away from me. Disregarding her anger, Jayadratha carried her to his chariot and drove away. Meanwhile, the Pandavas were returning from the hunt. The birds seem agitated. Could some hostile people have come here? Let's go faster. Thus Arjuna thought. It was not long before the Pandavas discovered that Draupadi had been abducted. Immediately they set out in search of her. Bhima said, "Look, there are chariot tracks here." Arjuna said, "They must have gone this way. Let's follow them immediately." And racing with their chariot, they found Jayadratha's chariot. "There they are, look out." In the battle that followed, the Pandavas scattered Jayadratha's army. Jayadratha fled for his life, leaving Draupadi behind. Pandava consoled Draupadi. Arjuna said, "Draupadi, go back home with Yudhishthira. Bhima and I will pursue that scoundrel." Bhima said, "For the sake of our cousin, Dushala, do not slay Jayadratha, though he is so wicked." Jayadratha was unaware that Bhima and Arjuna were on his trail. He was thinking, "I have had a clear start. The Pandavas can't overtake me now." Thus rushing in his chariot. Suddenly, "Oh my god, my horse! Arjuna must be around here somewhere." Trying to save his life, Jayadratha sprang out of his chariot and started to run. There Bhima had found him. "Stop, Jayadratha!" Bhima seized Jayadratha by the hair and held him, and shouted at him, "You coward! You dare to carry away a lady by force, yet you run away from a man. What kind of a human you are!" Bhima then threw him to the ground with great force. Jayadratha tried to run away, but Bhima kicked him hard and pressed him down. "A worm like you should not be allowed to live." Arjuna stopped him. "Bhima, don't kill him. Remember what Yudhishthira had told us?" Bhima couldn't control his anger, so he wanted to punish him. Then Bhima shaved Jayadratha's head and said, "If you wish to live, you must publicly declare that you are the slave of the Pandavas. Will you do so?" Jayadratha, afraid of his life, agreed to Bhima and said, "Yes, I will do that." Then Arjuna and Bhima bound Jayadratha in chains, thrust him into the chariot, and drove back home. There Jayadratha was thrown at Yudhishthira's feet. "Yudhishthira, do tell Draupadi that this man has become the slave of the Pandavas." Yudhishthira said, "Bhima, if you have any regard for me, set the wretch free immediately." Keeping Jayadratha a prisoner, Bhima was telling, "What do you say, Draupadi?" Draupadi answered, "Let him go. He is our slave, and you have shaved his head and punished him enough. That is enough for me." Bhima angrily said to Jayadratha, "You are a free man for now. Never set your heart again on evil deeds, or I will find you." Thus the Jayadratha left burning with shame and anger. He was thinking to himself, "I will have my revenge one day." He went to the banks of the Ganga and, imploring the protection of Lord Shiva, he observed severe penances. Many years passed by. At last, Lord Shiva appeared before him. "I am pleased with you. Ask a boon," said God Shiva. Jayadratha asked, "Lord, I want to be able to defeat all 5 of the Pandavas in battle." God Shiva answered, "That is not possible, dear. No one can defeat the Pandavas. However, you will be able to check the advance of the Pandavas once, but even so, you won't be able to stop Arjuna." And thus, blessed by God Shiva, Jayadratha returned to the city. Returning to his kingdom, he began his long wait for revenge. He was thinking to himself, "The Pandavas have completed their period of exile. Will Duryodhana restore their kingdom to them? I hope not." Then, one morning, he received a message from Duryodhana. It said, "I have refused to give them even an inch of land. There will be war. Come to my help, Jayadratha." Reading his friend's letter, Jayadratha was exclaiming, "This is the news I have been waiting for. War, war with the Pandavas." The great war between the Kauravas and the Pandavas was fought on the field of Kurukshetra. With Krishna driving his chariot, Arjuna attacked the Kaurava forces with lightning speed. On the 10th day of the battle, Bhishma, the commander of the Kaurava forces, was mortally wounded by Arjuna's arrow. Dronacharya took his place as a commander, but the Kauravas continued to lose heavily. 3 days later, in the war tent, the Kauravas were discussing. Revered one, you are much too fond of the Pandavas. You do not want them defeated. Duryodhana, even the gods cannot defeat the forces led by Arjuna, said Dronacharya. However, today I will slay at least one of the foremost of the Pandava army, but you must keep Arjuna busy. Duryodhana, satisfied, answered, I will ask the Samshaptakas to draw Arjuna away from the thick of the battle. So, on the 13th day of the battle, the Samshaptakas greeted Arjuna with war cries. Come on, Arjuna, we challenge you to fight with us. Arjuna said, All right, here I come. The Samshaptakas, as planned, kept Arjuna busy throughout the day. Hundreds of Samshaptakas were killed that day by the mighty Arjuna. As night fell, both sides retired to their camps. Although he was victorious, Arjuna was not happy. Krishna, I feel uneasy. Some unknown fear has seized me. I hope all is well with my brothers. Krishna answered, Don't worry, Arjuna. Not one of the Kauravas can equal them in strength or valor. Soon they reached their camp. I don't hear the laughter of our men. What happened? And where is my son Abhimanyu? Why isn't he here to greet me? When he entered the war tent, he saw his brothers sitting all cheerless, plunged in grief. Arjuna was asking, What's wrong? Where is Abhimanyu? But no one replied. Drona used the Chakravyuha battle formation today. You didn't ask Abhimanya to penetrate it, did you? Asked Arjuna. We did, Arjuna. We had to, said Yudhishthira. He fought valiantly and died a hero's death. Arjuna couldn't bear this news. Oh my God, my son is dead. Perhaps, my son, you thought that I would come to your rescue. I failed you. Angrily, Arjuna turned upon his brothers and shouted at them. You were on your chariots. You were fully armed. Why didn't you protect my son? You are all cowards. Yudhishthira tried to console him. Arjuna, we could not follow Abhimanyu into the Chakravyuha. Jayadratha held us back. We could not get past him. Oh, Jayadratha, said the distressed Arjuna. Then he took a terrible vow. Tomorrow, before sunset, I will kill Jayadratha on the battlefield. And if I fail, I will enter fire alive myself. Arjuna and Krishna blew their conch shells loudly, sending a wave of fear into the enemy's camp. Duryodhana was startled. What an ear-piercing sound is that? But why are they blowing their conches now? Just then, Jayadratha tottered into the Duryodhana's army camp. Duryodhana, my life is in danger. Please save me. Duryodhana angrily asked, Why? What has happened now? Jayadratha told him of Arjuna's vow. So, Arjuna will kill himself if he fails to kill you by sunset tomorrow? Excellent. We have only to protect you until sunset and you will be safe. Jayadratha felt reassured. He said, I have been foolish. You can protect a man from the Lord of Death himself. I don't have to fear Arjuna. Duryodhana consoled him. My entire army will protect you. And as for Arjuna, you will see him entering the fire tomorrow. The next day, Drona made careful preparations. Jayadratha, you are in no danger. Between you and Arjuna stands our massive army which stretches for over 12 miles. Jayadratha answered, Now I feel at ease. Dronacharya took his position at the head of his army. Arjuna arrived at the battlefield with a huge army and saluted Drona. Arjuna said, Master, bless me. You trained me in warfare. Through your grace, I wish to slay Jayadratha in the battle. And that is the character of the Pandavas, saluting the man who killed their son unjustly. Duryodhana and Dronacharya replied back to Arjuna, We are on opposite sides, Arjuna. You must vanquish me first before you can reach Jayadratha. Thus the battle started again. Great was the battle that was fought between master and pupil. Finally, Sri Krishna Paramatma observed that the battle is not going anywhere ahead. Arjuna, Drona will keep us here the whole day. We must slip past him somehow, said Sri Krishna Paramatma. As Krishna skillfully drove the chariot forward, Drona called out, Are you running away from your foe? You are my teacher, not my foe, and no one can defeat you in the battle, said Arjuna. Arjuna released a volley of arrows to clear the way. Then he charged forward, leaving his army far behind. Run, Arjuna is here. The army were so confused and running away in all directions. Here comes Arjuna, here comes Arjuna. King Shrutayudha, an ally of Duryodhana, stood in his way. Arjuna, you won't get past me. And you, Krishna, are the power behind Arjuna. I will kill you too, said the foolish king. A fierce battle ensued. Lord Varuna's boon has made him powerful, said Krishna Paramatma. Arjuna said, is there no way of defeating him? Only one person can bring him about his death, Shrutayudha himself, said Sri Krishna Paramatma. Arjuna eagerly asked, how, Krishna? Just then, Krishna, watch out, he is sending out a weapon. Arjuna alerted Sri Krishna, but Sri Krishna Paramatma smilingly received the mace on his shoulder. Arjuna was screaming, oh my God, Krishna! To Arjuna's amazement, Krishna was unhurt. Oh my God, look, the mace has bounced back and going towards the king. Sri Krishna Paramatma said, calm down, Arjuna, just as I had expected. Lord Varuna had warned him the mace would recoil on himself if used against someone who was unarmed. Shrutayudha remembered Varuna's warning, but it was too late, and the same weapon attacked him back and killed him. Shrutayudha fell. Sri Krishna Paramatma said, Arjuna, the undeserving who obtain power to destroy others fall victim to the same power. The fall of Shrutayudha caused panic in Duryodhana's camp. Jayadratha was alarmed at the news. He asked, Duryodhana, is there no one who can hold Arjuna back? He will be soon here, I feel. Duryodhana said, he shall be stopped. Urged by Duryodhana, hundreds of warriors fell upon Arjuna. Then the mighty warrior Shrutayu hurled his spear at Arjuna. O Arjuna, take this. The spear found its mark, staggering under the impact. Arjuna supported himself against his flagstaff. A shout of joy rent the air in the Kaurava army. Arjuna is dead. Arjuna has been killed. But soon Arjuna recovered and invoked into existence the weapon named after Indra, and from it flowed thousands of arrows. Shrutayu fell and his soldiers began to flee. Arjuna's chariot sped on. Faster, Krishna, we have a long way to go before we reach Jayadratha. But another section of Duryodhana's army blocked their path. Faster, Krishna, faster, Sri Krishna Paramatma said. Our horses are tired and they are pierced with arrows. We cannot go any faster. Arjuna said, then let's unharness the horses and remove the arrows. Arjuna jumped down from the chariot. The soldiers of Kaurava army exclaimed, Arjuna has dismounted, look! Arjuna then shielded Krishna with a shower of arrows. Sri Krishna Paramatma said, Arjuna, our horses need water to drink. But where on a battlefield can we expect to find water? The mighty Arjuna said, here, Krishna. Arjuna shot an arrow into the ground, and water gushed out, making a pool for the horses to drink from. Meanwhile, Duryodhana's men made a determined attack. Now is the time to overpower Arjuna. Look, kill him and his horses. Arjuna swiftly created a protective wall of arrows around the pool. Krishna tended the horses and lovingly massaged them. When the horses were refreshed, they were harnessed again, and Krishna and Arjuna speedily drove on. Look, Krishna and Arjuna are here again, and our arrows have made not a scratch on them. Confused were the Kauravas' army. Meanwhile, the coward Jayadratha was watching the sky intently. Good, thank God, just one more hour for the sun to set, Duryodhana said. Then Arjuna, having failed in this mission, will put an end to his life. Just then, one of the soldiers informed, Arjuna is coming. Duryodhana, protect me. Be calm, Jayadratha. I will go after him myself, said Duryodhana. Will he stop Arjuna? This 1 hour before the sun set, will seem like eternity for me. Crying, Jayadratha answered. Soon Duryodhana met Arjuna in the battlefield. No, Arjuna, you can't get past me. You cannot harm Jayadratha. Jayadratha shall die before the sun sets today, said the determined mighty warrior Arjuna. Arjuna thus shattered Duryodhana's chariot. Duryodhana's men rushed to his rescue. Duryodhana said, Don't allow him to go ahead, protect Jayadratha. Duryodhana's men surrounded Arjuna's chariot. Sri Krishna Paramatma said, Arjuna, time is running out, get them out of the way. Arjuna said, Watch me, Krishna. Arjuna drew his bow while Krishna blew his conch. The blare of Krishna's conch and the twang of Arjuna's bow had a stunning effect, and all of Duryodhana's men fell to the ground. Before they could recover from the shock, Krishna spurred on his horses. As the evening shadows lengthened, the Pandavas became more and more anxious. Will Arjuna reach Jayadratha in time? And the Kauravas more and more jubilant. Look, soon the sun will go down and Arjuna is still far away from Jayadratha. But Duryodhana said, But keep a careful watch. He must be kept away from Jayadratha at all cost. Urged by Duryodhana, Karna and the other warriors attacked Arjuna. But they could not hold him off for long. Arjuna, at last we have found Jayadratha. There he is, showed Sri Krishna Paramatma. But Krishna, there are 6 warriors between him and me. I won't be able to kill Jayadratha before the sun sets. Sri Krishna Paramatma assured Arjuna, No, you shall slay him. Suddenly it became dark. Krishna, the sun has set. Sri Krishna Paramatma said, No, Arjuna, this is an illusion. You have nothing to fear. Jayadratha and his friends were deceived by the illusion of darkness cast by Krishna. Darkness at last, I am safe. Happy was Jayadratha, though momentarily. Duryodhana's men put down their weapons and stood up to cheer the jubilant Jayadratha. Arjuna will now put an end to his life. Let us watch. Karna said, Didn't I tell you we would protect you? Then the mighty Arjuna struck. His arrows pierced through the darkness into Jayadratha's heart. At that very moment, the darkness was dispelled and the sun was visible again. Oh my God, the sun has not set yet. It was only an illusion wrought by Krishna once again upon the Kaurava army. I have failed you, Jayadratha, Duryodhana said to the dying Jayadratha. Victorious, Sri Krishna Paramatma and the mighty warrior King Arjuna blew their conches to announce their victory.